The little robot cutting your neighbor's lawn has no map. It doesn't know your yard is a rectangle. It doesn't know where the driveway is. Most of them can't even tell you which way they're pointing. They just drive in a straight line until something stops them, spin off at a random angle, and drive again. And yet, hour after hour, they cut the entire lawn and never once roll into the street. How? Because the whole yard is fenced by a signal you can't see, buried a couple inches under the grass. That's the old trick. The new machines threw the fence away entirely and started listening to satellites instead. Two completely different answers to one simple question. How does it not drive into the road? Walk the edge of a lawn cut by an older robot mower, and somewhere just under the surface, there's a single wire. It runs all the way around the yard in one big loop, out from a base station and back to it, so it forms a complete circle of copper. That base station pushes a weak electrical signal through the wire, and because it's alternating current, flipping back and forth thousands of times a second, that current throws off a small magnetic field all along the wire, like an invisible tripwire hovering over the buried line. The mower can feel it. Tucked in its front end are little coils of wire, the same basic idea as the antenna in a radio. When a coil passes near that magnetic field, the field induces a tiny voltage in it. No contact, no plug, just the field reaching up through the grass and whispering to the machine. That whisper is the entire fence. Here's the clever part. A magnetic field has a direction. On one side of the wire, the field points up. On the other side, it points down. So as long as the mower is inside the loop, the field it senses has one polarity. The instant it crosses over the wire to the outside, that polarity flips. Same signal, opposite direction. The mower doesn't need to know where it is on a map. It only needs to know one thing. Am I still getting the inside version of this signal, yes or no? The moment the coils report that the field has flipped, the machine knows it just touched the edge, and it stops and turns before a single wheel leaves the grass. That's why it can hug a driveway or a flower bed within an inch and never cross it. It's not seeing the driveway. It's feeling the exact line where the magnetic field turns over. And the signal is coded, not just any hum. The base station sends a specific pattern, so the mower ignores stray electrical noise and won't get fooled or hijacked by a neighbor's machine 3 yards over. So the fence tells it where the edge is. But inside that fence, how does it decide where to go? For most of these machines, the honest answer is, it doesn't. It just drives straight until it hits the boundary wire or bumps an obstacle. Then it turns away at a more or less random angle and drives straight again. Bounce, turn, bounce, turn. There's no plan. There's no memory of where it's already been. It feels like it should miss huge patches, and in any single hour, it does. But run it long enough, and randomness fills the whole space. Bounce around a room enough times from enough angles, and you eventually touch every corner. The mowers lean on this hard. They run for hours most days, on a schedule, cutting the same lawn over and over. Any strip missed today gets caught tomorrow. And there's a second reason it works. Each pass barely cuts anything. These machines nibble off just a few millimeters of grass at a time and drop the tiny clippings back down as fertilizer. So the lawn is never long then short. It's kept permanently short by constant chaotic little trims. Slow, dumb, and relentless beats fast and smart, at least until the snart version showed up. Now the reinvention. The newest mowers have no wire at all. You set the boundaries by walking the machine around your yard once in an app, or by drawing lines on a map, and it remembers them as virtual fences. To pull that off, it has to know its own position on the planet, precisely at all times. Ordinary GPS can't do it. The GPS in your phone is only accurate to a few meters, and a few meters is the difference between the lawn and the neighbor's begonias. So these mowers use something called RTK, real-time kinematic positioning. You plant a small fixed base station somewhere with a clear view of the sky. That base sits at one unmoving spot and listens to the same satellites the mower does. Because it never moves, it can measure exactly how much the satellite signals are getting distorted on the way down through the atmosphere, and it calculates a correction. It radios that correction to the mower constantly. The mower takes its own rough satellite fix and applies the base station's correction, and the error collapses from meters to about a centimeter. At that accuracy, the mower doesn't need a fence in the ground. It knows precisely where it is inside your saved map, so it can drive in neat, deliberate parallel stripes, like a tiny lawn tractor, covering the yard efficiently instead of at random, and stopping cold at a virtual line it can trust to the centimeter. Whichever way it navigates, the cutting is the same idea, and it's not the spinning steel bar of a gas mower. Underneath is a small disc that spins fast, and mounted on it are tiny razor blades, often just an inch or so long, sometimes on little pivots so they swing outward as the disc spins. Because they're small and light and each takes off so little grass, they're safer and quieter, and if one clips a stone it can fold back instead of firing it like a bullet. Then there are the sensors that matter most. Lift the mower off the ground or tip it up onto its side, and tilt and lift sensors cut power to the blades almost instantly, in a fraction of a second, long before your hand could reach them. That's the single most important part of the whole machine. Not how it cuts, but how fast it stops when a curious kid or a paw shows up where it shouldn't. A few quiet touches turn a cutting machine into an appliance you forget exists. Many have a rain sensor, a simple pad that detects moisture, so the mower parks itself when it's wet, because cutting soaked grass tears rather than slices and gums up the deck. And every one of them handles its own charging. When the battery runs low, it stops mowing and heads home to its dock, either by tracing that boundary wire back like a rail, or on the satellite machines, by simply driving to the charger's saved coordinates. It tops up, then rolls back out to finish the job. You never plug it in, never start it, never empty a bag. That's the whole selling point. You stop thinking about the lawn. It's slick, but it's not magic, and both systems have real weak spots. The wire is a chore. Someone has to install that loop around the entire yard, pinning it down or burial it. And every flower bed and tree you want protected needs its own island of wire. Worse, it's a single unbroken circuit, so if an aerator, a shovel, or a frost heave nicks it anywhere, the whole fence goes dead, and the mower won't leave the dock until you find the break. Hunting a hairline cut in 100 yards of buried wire is exactly as miserable as it sounds. The satellite machines dodge all that, but they trade it for a different problem. They need to see the sky. Park them under a big tree, next to the house, or in a narrow side yard walled by fences, and the satellite signal gets blocked or bounces off surfaces and scrambles. And that beautiful centimeter accuracy falls apart right where you need it. Tree cover is their kryptonite. Both share the rest. Steep slopes beat their traction, so hilly or terraced yards are a bad fit. Skinny passages between the front and backyard can trip them up. They cut so little per pass that they have to run constantly, so they're slow by design. They're worth stealing, which is why they come with pins, alarms, and GPS tracking. And any robot will eventually get stuck on a root, a low branch, or a pile of leaves and phone home for help. So let's kill the two big myths. Myth 1, it must know your yard, like a little map in its head. The old ones don't know anything. They feel a magnetic line in the dirt and bounce around blind until randomness cuts everything. The intelligence isn't in the mower, it's in that one buried wire drawing the shape of your yard. Myth 2, the new ones just use GPS. Plain GPS would put it 3 meters into the road. What actually works is a second fixed station on the ground, sitting still, measuring the error in the satellite signal and correcting the mower a few times a second. The satellites give it the ballpark. The base station gives it the inch. Two machines, two totally different tricks, answering the same question. One draws a fence you can't see. The other listens to space and checks its work against a stake in your yard. Either way, that little robot always knows exactly where the grass ends. Subscribe to Whambox for more How Does It Actually Work explainers.